The shrill ring of my office phone pierces through the mundane hum of my workday. I pick up the receiver, expecting another client or colleague, but the voice on the other end sends a chill down my spine. It's Everett, my estranged husband, and his tone is anything but friendly. "Mallory, we need to talk," he says, his voice dripping with false sincerity. "I've made some investments that didn't quite pan out, and well, long story short, we've lost the house." I grip the phone tighter, my knuckles turning white. "What do you mean, we've lost the house? How could you be so reckless with our home?" Everett scoffs, his true colors showing. "Oh, don't act so high and mighty. It's not like you've been contributing much lately. Maybe it's time for you to move back to that dingy little hometown of yours and live with your parents. God knows they could use the help at their age." Rage boils inside me. How dare he suggest I burden my elderly parents because of his mistakes? "Everett, you can't just make decisions like this without me. We need to talk, face to face." "Fine," he spits out. "Meet me at the house in an hour. Don't be late." The line goes dead, and I'm left standing there, the dial tone echoing in my ear. My mind races as I grab my purse and head out the door, barely remembering to lock up behind me. The drive to our once shared home is a blur, memories of happier times flashing before my eyes. When I pull into the driveway, Everett is already there, leaning against his car with a smug look on his face. Well, look who decided to show up," he sneers as I approach. "Cut the crap, Everett. What the hell happened? How could you gamble with our future like this?" He rolls his eyes. "Oh, spare me the lecture. You're hardly one to talk about responsibility. When was the last time you even visited your parents? They're probably wondering if you're still alive." His words cut deep, hitting a nerve I didn't even know was exposed. "Leave my parents out of this," I hiss. "This is about you and your reckless behavior." Everett steps closer, his eyes narrowing. "No, Mallory, this is about you. You and your inability to be a proper wife. Maybe if you'd been more supportive, I wouldn't have had to take such risks." I can't believe what I'm hearing. The audacity of this man to blame me for his own failures. "You know what, Everett? I'm done. I'm done with your lies, your manipulation, and your complete disregard for anyone but yourself. I'm going to find a way to fix this mess you've made, and I'm going to do it without you." I turn on my heel and storm back to my car, my heart pounding in my chest. As I peel out of the driveway, I catch a glimpse of Everett in the rearview mirror, his face contorted with rage. But I don't care. I have a new mission now, one that will take me back to my roots and force me to confront the ghosts of my past. I will protect my parents from Everett's twisted games, no matter what it takes. As I merge onto the highway, the city skyline fading in the distance, I feel a sense of determination wash over me. I may be heading back to my hometown, but I'm not the same scared little girl who left all those years ago. I'm a woman on a mission, and heaven help anyone who tries to stand in my way. The winding road leads me back to the place I once called home, a small town nestled in the heart of America. It's been years since I've set foot here, but as I drive past the familiar storefronts and houses, memories come flooding back. I pull up to my childhood home, a modest two-story house with a well-manicured lawn. My parents have always taken pride in their home, despite the hardships they've faced. I take a deep breath and step out of the car, steeling myself for the conversation to come. As I approach the front door, it swings open, revealing my mother's smiling face. "Mallory! What a wonderful surprise," she exclaims, pulling me into a warm hug. I return the embrace, feeling a pang of guilt for not visiting more often. "Hi, Mom. It's good to see you. Is Dad around? I need to talk to both of you." Her smile falters slightly, sensing the seriousness in my tone. "Of course, dear. He's in the living room. Come on in." I follow her inside, taking in the familiar surroundings. The house hasn't changed much over the years, still filled with the same cozy furniture and family photos. My father sits in his favorite armchair, looking up from his newspaper as I enter. "Mallory, what brings you home?" he asks, a hint of concern in his voice. I settle onto the couch, clasping my hands in my lap. "Mom, Dad, there's something I need to tell you. It's about Everett." I relay the story of Everett's reckless investment and the loss of our home. I watch as their faces shift from shock to anger, their eyes filling with a mix of disbelief and disappointment. "How could he do this to you?" my mother asks, her voice trembling. After everything you've been through together? I don't know, Mom. But I do know that I can't let him get away with it. I have to protect what's left of our family, and that includes you and Dad. My father leans forward, his brow furrowed. What do you mean, Mallory? We're not the ones in trouble here. But you could be, I insist. Everett is a master manipulator. He'll stop at nothing to get what he wants, even if it means coming after you. That's why I need to make sure this house is secure, legally under my name. My parents exchange a worried glance. Mallory, we appreciate your concern, but we can take care of ourselves, my father says gently. I shake my head, remembering the malice in Everett's voice when he suggested I move back home. No, Dad, you don't know him like I do. He's capable of things you can't even imagine. Please, let me do this for you. Let me keep you safe. Tears well up in my mother's eyes as she reaches for my hand. Oh, Mallory, we never wanted you to have to shoulder this burden. We only ever wanted the best for you. I know, Mom, and I'm going to make sure that Everett pays for what he's done. But first, I need to make sure you and Dad are protected. Will you trust me to do that? They both nod, their faces etched with a mix of love and concern. Of course, dear, we trust you, my mother says softly. As we sit there, holding hands and sharing memories of better times, I feel a renewed sense of purpose. I may have lost my home and my marriage, but I still have my family, and I'll be damned if I let Everett take that away from me too. The road ahead may be long and difficult, but I'm ready to face it head on. With my parents by my side and a fierce determination in my heart, I know I can weather any storm that comes my way. The family lawyer's office is a stark contrast to the cozy warmth of my parents' home. I sit across from the attorney, a middle-aged woman with a sharp gaze and a no-nonsense demeanor. She listens intently as I explain my situation, nodding occasionally and jotting down notes. So, you want to secure your parents' house under your name, correct? She asks, looking up from her legal pad. Yes, I reply, my voice firm. I need to make sure that Everett can't touch it, no matter what he tries. The lawyer leans back in her chair, studying me carefully. It's not going to be easy, Mallory. Everett sounds like a man who doesn't play by the rules, but I'll do everything in my power to help you protect your family. Relief washes over me. Thank you. I know it won't be simple, but I'm ready to fight for what's right. She nods, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. I can see that. Now let's talk about the legal proceedings. We'll need to gather evidence of Everett's financial misdeeds and build a strong case for why you should be the sole owner of your parents' house. We spend the next hour going over the details, discussing strategies and potential obstacles. By the time I leave the office, my head is spinning with legal jargon and a mountain of paperwork, but I feel a renewed sense of purpose. Back at my temporary apartment, I pour myself a glass of wine and settle onto the couch, surrounded by boxes of my belongings. It's a far cry from the lavish home I once shared with Everett, but it's a small price to pay for my freedom. As I sip my wine, my phone buzzes with an incoming call. I glance at the screen, expecting to see my mother's name, but instead it's Everett. I hesitate for a moment before answering, steeling myself for whatever lies he's about to spin. What do you want, Everett? I ask, my voice cold. Mallory, darling, is that any way to greet your loving husband? He purrs, his tone dripping with false sincerity. I scoff. You lost the right to call yourself that when you gambled away our future. What do you want? I just wanted to check in on you, see how you're doing in that little hometown of yours. I hope your parents are well. It would be a shame if anything were to happen to them. My blood runs cold at his thinly veiled threat. Listen to me, Everett. If you so much as breathe in the direction of my parents, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your miserable life. He laughs, a low, menacing sound. Oh, Mallory, you always were a feisty one, but you forget who you're dealing with. I have more power than you can possibly imagine, and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm not afraid of you, I spit out, my hand clenching around the phone. I'm going to make sure you pay for what you've done, Everett. One way or another, you'll get what's coming to you. We'll see about that, he says, his voice turning icy. You have no idea what I'm capable of, Mallory, but you'll find out soon enough. With that, he hangs up, leaving me shaking with rage and fear. I down the rest of my wine in one gulp, trying to calm my racing heart. I know I'm in for the fight of my life, but I refuse to back down. Everett may think he has the upper hand, but he underestimates the power of a woman scorned. I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family and make him pay for his betrayal, even if it means going to war with the man I once loved. The next few weeks are a blur of meetings, phone calls, and endless paperwork. I throw myself into my work, determined to build a new life for myself and secure my parents' future. My colleagues notice the change in me, the steely resolve that now underlies my every action. "Mallory, are you sure you're okay?" My friend and coworker, Sarah, asks me over lunch one day. "You've been working nonstop lately." I give her a tight smile. "I'm fine, Sarah. Just dealing with some personal issues. But I appreciate your concern." She nods, her eyes filled with understanding. "If you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. You don't have to go through this alone." Her words touch me, and I feel a wave of gratitude wash over me. "Thank you, Sarah. That means a lot." As I leave the office that evening, my phone buzzes with a text message. It's from Everett, asking to meet at a nearby cafe. I hesitate for a moment, weighing the risks, but ultimately decide to go. Better to face him on my own terms than wait for him to ambush me. When I arrive at the cafe, Everett is already there, sitting at a corner table with a smug smile on his face. I take a deep breath and approach him, my head held high. "Mallory, so good of you to join me," he says, gesturing for me to sit down. I remain standing, my arms crossed. "What do you want, Everett?" "I thought I made it clear that I don't want anything to do with you." His smile fades, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "You may think you've won, Mallory, but you have no idea what I'm capable of. I have connections, resources that you can't even begin to imagine." I lean forward, my voice low and dangerous. "And I have the truth on my side, Everett. I know about your financial misdeeds, your lies and manipulations, and I'm not afraid to use that knowledge against you." He scoffs. "You think a few pieces of paper can stop me? I'll bury you in legal fees, drag this out for years until you have nothing left, and then when you're at your lowest, I'll take everything from you. Your parents' house, your job, your reputation. I'll make sure you have nothing left to fight for." I feel a chill run down my spine at his words, but I refuse to let him see my fear. "You're wrong, Everett. I have plenty to fight for. My family, my self-respect, my freedom from your twisted games, and I won't stop until I've made sure you can never hurt anyone again." With that, I turn and walk away, my heart pounding in my chest. I can feel Everett's eyes boring into my back, but don't look back. I know I've just declared war, but I'm ready for battle. The next few days are a flurry of activity as I work with my lawyer to gather evidence against Everett. We pore over financial records, track down witnesses, and build a case that even he can't ignore. But Everett isn't one to back down easily. He sends threatening messages, tries to intimidate me at every turn. I refuse to let him get to me, but the constant stress takes its toll. One evening, as I'm working late at the office, I receive a call from my mother. Her voice is shaky and I can tell she's been crying. "Mallory, it's your father. He's in the hospital. He had a heart attack." I feel my world tilt on its axis, my breath catching in my throat. "I'm on my way, Mom. I'll be there as soon as I can." As I race to the hospital, my mind is a whirlwind of emotions. Anger at Everett for causing this stress, fear for my father's health, and a grim determination to see this fight through to the end. I won't let Everett win. Not now, not ever. The hospital room is quiet, save for the steady beep of the heart monitor. I sit by my father's bedside, holding his hand as he sleeps. The doctors say he's stable, but the stress of the past few weeks has taken a toll on his health. I feel a wave of guilt wash over me. I should have been there for him, should have protected him from Everett's machinations. But I was too caught up in my own battles to see the toll it was taking on my family. As I sit there, lost in thought, I hear a knock at the door. I look up to see my lawyer, a grim expression on her face. "Mallory, we need to talk," she says, her voice low and urgent. I follow her out into the hallway, my heart pounding in my chest. "What is it? What's happened?" She takes a deep breath. "Everett is trying to file a countersuit. He's claiming that you're the one who mismanaged the finances, that you're the reason for the loss of your home." I feel my blood run cold. That's absurd. He's the one who gambled away our future, not me. She nods. "I know, Mallory, but he's got a team of lawyers behind him, and they're going to do everything they can to make this stick. We need to be prepared for a fight. I clench my fists, anger coursing through my veins. I'm ready. I won't let him get away with this. We spend the next few hours going over our strategy, gathering evidence to refute Everett's claims. By the time we're finished, I'm exhausted but determined. I head back to my father's room, only to find Everett standing by his bedside. He looks up as I enter, a smirk on his face. Mallory, what a surprise. I was just checking in on dear old Dad. Such a shame about his heart attack. I feel my temper. Get out, Everett. You have no right to be here. He chuckles, a low, menacing sound. Oh, but I have every right. After all, I'm still legally your husband, and as your husband, I have a say in your family's affairs. I take a step forward, my voice shaking with rage. Not for long, you don't. I'm filing for divorce, and I'm going to make sure you never come near my family again. His eyes narrow. You think it's going to be that easy? I'll drag this out for years, Mallory. I'll bleed you dry, and then I'll take everything you have left, including this hospital, if I have to. I feel a chill run down my spine at his words. What are you talking about? He smiles, a cold, calculating look in his eyes. I have connections, Mallory, connections that go far beyond what you can imagine, and if I have to use them to get what I want, I will. I shake my head, disbelief and anger warring within me. You're insane, Everett. You're not going to get away with this. He leans in close, his breath hot against my ear. Watch me. With that, he turns and walks out of the room, leaving me shaking with fury and fear. I turn to my father, still sleeping peacefully, and I make a silent vow. I will protect my family, no matter what it takes. I will fight Everett with every ounce of strength I have, and I will make sure he pays for what he's done, even if it means risking everything I have left. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for the battle ahead. It won't be easy, but I know I have the truth on my side, and with my lawyer by my side, I know I can win. Everett may think he has the upper hand, but he's about to learn just how far a daughter's love can go. I won't rest until my family is safe, and Everett is nothing more than a bad memory. The game is on, and I'm playing to win. The courtroom is packed as I take my seat next to my lawyer. The air is thick with tension, and I can feel the weight of everyone's eyes on me. Everett sits across the aisle, his face a mask of smug confidence. The judge enters, and the room falls silent. The proceedings begin, and I listen as my lawyer presents our case, laying out the evidence of Everett's financial misdeeds and manipulation. But Everett's lawyer is good. He twists the facts, painting me as a vindictive wife out for revenge. I feel my stomach churn as he spins his web of lies, making me out to be the villain. And then it's Everett's turn to take the stand. He plays the role of the innocent victim, his voice dripping with false sincerity as he recounts the story of our marriage. I loved Mallory with all my heart, he says, his eyes welling up with tears. But she changed. She became cold, distant. She stopped supporting me, stopped being the wife I needed her to be. I feel my blood boil at his words. How dare he paint himself as the victim after everything he's done? But my lawyer is ready. She cross-examines him, picking apart his story piece by piece. She presents the evidence of his gambling, his reckless investments, his lies, and deceit, and then she plays her trump card. A recording of a phone call between Everett and his broker discussing the illegal insider trading that led to the loss of our home. The courtroom erupts in gasps and murmurs. Everett's face turns white, and I see a flicker of fear in his eyes. The judge calls for order, and the room falls silent once again. And then, in a moment that will stay with me forever, the judge delivers his verdict. In light of the evidence presented, I find in favor of the plaintiff, Mallory Chambers, the divorce is granted, and the marital assets will be divided in accordance with the prenuptial agreement. I feel a rush of relief wash over me, followed by a sense of grim satisfaction. I've won. I've beaten Everett at his own game. But my victory is short-lived. As we leave the courthouse, Everett corners me in the hallway, his face twisted with rage. You think you've won? He hisses, his voice low and menacing. You have no idea what I'm capable of, Mallory. I'll make you pay for this. I'll make sure you never know a moment's peace again. I feel a chill run down my spine at his words, but I refuse to let him see my fear. You've lost, Everett. It's over. Just accept it and move on. He laughs, a harsh, bitter sound. Oh, it's far from over, Mallory. You may have won this battle, but the war is just beginning. With that, he turns and storms away, leaving me shaken and unsettled. I know I should feel triumphant, but all I feel is a sense of dread. I head back to my parents' house, where my mother is waiting for me with open arms. She hugs me tight, and I feel the tears I've been holding back finally spill over. "It's okay, Mallory," she whispers, stroking my hair. "You did it. You stood up for yourself, for all of us. I'm so proud of you." I nod, burying my face in her shoulder. "I know, Mom, but I'm scared. Everett's not going to let this go. He's going to come after us again, I know it." She pulls back, looking me in the eye. "And we'll be ready for him. We're a family, Mallory. We stick together no matter what." I take a deep breath, drawing strength from her words. She's right. We're a family, and we'll face whatever comes next together. But even as I try to push away the fear, I can't shake the feeling that this is only the beginning. Everett may be down, but he's far from out, and I know he won't rest until he's had his revenge. A few weeks after the trial, I receive a message from Everett. It's short and cryptic, asking me to meet him at an address I don't recognize. My first instinct is to ignore it, but something tells me I need to see this through. I drive to the address, a luxurious apartment building in the heart of the city. The doorman lets me in, and I take the elevator up to the penthouse floor. When I knock on the door, Everett answers, a smile on his face. "Mallory, so glad you could make it," he says, ushering me inside. "I have something I want to show you." I follow him into the living room, where a stack of papers sits on the coffee table. He picks them up, handing them to me with a flourish. "I think you'll find these quite interesting," he says, his voice dripping with self-satisfaction. I look down at the papers, my heart sinking as I realize what they are. They're the deed to my parents' house, signed over to Everett. "What is this?" I ask, my voice shaking with anger. "What have you done?" He laughs, a cruel, mocking sound. "Oh, Mallory, did you really think I'd let you win that easily? I told you I have connections, and those connections were more than happy to help me convince your parents to sign over their house." I feel like I've been punched in the gut. "You bastard, how could you do this? How could you manipulate my parents like that?" He shrugs, a smirk on his face. "It was easy. They're old, vulnerable, they trusted me, and now their house belongs to me." I shake my head, disbelief and rage warring within me. "You won't get away with this, Everett. I'll fight you. I'll find a way to undo this." He steps closer, his face inches from mine. "You can try, Mallory, but you'll fail, just like you always do. You're weak, pathetic. You never had what it takes to play in the big leagues." I feel something snap inside me. Before I know what I'm doing, I'm swinging my fist, connecting with his jaw with a satisfying crack. He stumbles back, his eyes wide with shock, and then he's coming at me, his face twisted with rage. We grapple, trading blows and insults. I pour all my anger, all my pain into every punch, every kick. But Everett is stronger, and soon he has me pinned to the ground, his hands around my throat. "You stupid bitch," he snarls, his face red with exertion. "You think you can beat me? I own you, Mallory. I own your parents, your life, everything." I struggle against his grip, black spots dancing in my vision, and then, just as I think I'm about to pass out, I hear a voice. "Get off her, Everett. It's over." Everett looks up, his grip loosening, and there, standing in the doorway, is his brother Nathan. "Nathan?" Everett says, his voice confused. "What are you doing here?" Nathan steps into the room, his face grim. "I'm here to stop you, Everett. I know what you've done, how you've manipulated Mallory and her parents, and I'm not going to let you get away with it." Everett stands up, his face twisting into a sneer. "You don't know what you're talking about, Nathan. This is none of your business." But Nathan isn't backing down. "It is my business, Everett, because you've used my name, my reputation to get what you want, and I won't stand for it anymore." He turns to me, holding out a hand to help me up. "I'm sorry, Mallory. I should have seen what he was doing sooner, but I'm here now, and I'm going to make this right." I take his hand, pulling myself to my feet, and as I stand there, bruised and battered but still standing, I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not alone in this fight after all. Nathan helps me to my feet, and together we face Everett. He's seething with rage, his fists clenched at his sides. "You're making a big mistake, Nathan," he growls. "You don't want to cross me," but Nathan stands firm. "No, Everett, you're the one who's made the mistake. You've lied, cheated, and stolen your way through life, and now it's time to face the consequences. He turns to me, his eyes soft. Mallory, I know a lawyer who can help us. She's the best in the business, and she'll make sure that your parents' house is returned to them. I nod, feeling a surge of gratitude. Thank you, Nathan. I don't know how to repay you. He shakes his head. You don't owe me anything, Mallory. I'm just doing what's right. We leave Everett standing there, his face twisted with anger and disbelief. And as we walk out of the apartment, I feel a sense of hope for the first time in months. The next few weeks are a blur of legal proceedings and paperwork. Nathan's lawyer is as good as he said, and she works tirelessly to build our case against Everett. And then, finally, the day arrives. We stand in the courtroom, facing the judge as she delivers her verdict. In light of the evidence presented, I find in favor of the plaintiffs, Mallory and Nathan Chambers. The deed to the property in question is hereby declared null and void, and ownership will revert back to the original owners, Eleanor and Walter Chambers. I feel tears of relief spring to my eyes. We did it. We won. But Everett isn't ready to give up. As we leave the courthouse, he corners us, his face contorted with rage. You think this is over? He snarls. I'll make you pay for this, Mallory, you and your whole family. Nathan steps in front of me, shielding me from Everett's wrath. Back off, Everett. It's over. You've lost. But Everett isn't listening. He lunges at Nathan, his fists flying. I scream, trying to pull them apart, but it's no use. And then suddenly, the police are there. They grab Everett, pulling him away from Nathan and slamming him against the wall. Everett Chambers, you're under arrest for assault and battery, as well as fraud and embezzlement, one of the officers says, cuffing his hands behind his back. I watch as they lead him away, feeling a sense of grim satisfaction. He's finally getting what he deserves. The next few days are a whirlwind of activity. My parents move back into their house, and I help them settle in. Nathan and I grow closer, bonding over our shared experience and our determination to move forward. And then one evening, as we sit on the porch of my parents' house, watching the sunset, Nathan turns to me. Mallory, I know this might seem sudden, but I have to say it. I've fallen in love with you. Seeing your strength, your courage through all of this, it's made me realize how amazing you are. I feel my heart skip a beat. Nathan, I don't know what to say. He takes my hand, his eyes full of warmth. You don't have to say anything, just know that I'm here for you, always. I lean in, pressing my lips to his. And as we sit there wrapped in each other's arms, I feel a sense of peace wash over me. We've been through hell, but we've come out the other side. And now, with my family safe and a new love by my side, I know that anything is possible. Everett may have tried to destroy us, but in the end, he only made us stronger. And that's a victory that no one can ever take away.